Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students, you are welcome in this class. I am Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Principal Scientist from Division of Agronomy, ICAR, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, Pusa Campus, New Delhi. This lecture pertains to the course Agronomy of Oilseed, Fiber and Sugar Crops. The title of this lecture is Nutrient, Water, Weed, Insect Pest and Disease Management and also Processing of Sugar beet crop. Overall learning objectives are to explain the nutrient management practices. We will see what are the deficiency symptoms of different nutrients and water management practices in this crop, and also weed management. What are the problem weed associated with this crop and how they can be managed. And then we will see management of insect pests and diseases and partly some information on processing of sugar beet, means how sugar is produced from the sugar beet. So you can see the picture of sugar beet crop. You can see the very closely associated leaves are there. They are very dense and kind of rosette appearance is seen in this crop. Some glossary: bract, a modified leaf or scale, typically small with a flower or flower cluster in its axil. Leaf blade, flat and expanded portion of a leaf in its entirety is leaf lamina or blade. Mosaic symptoms, they come in leaf where they are variable but include irregular leaf mottling, that is light and dark green or yellow patches or maybe streaks also, and leaves stunted, curled or puckered. Veins may be lighter than normal or banded with dark green or yellow. So these are the typical symptoms of mosaic disease. Now, non-systemic fungicide, it is also called as contact fungicide and remain on plant surface and do not penetrate into plant tissues, only effective before pathogens infect the plant. Petiole, the slender stalk with which a leaf is attached to the stem. It is also called as leaf stalk. Pustule, a small blister-like elevation of epidermis, means these are the raised spots on the leaf and often opening to expose spores, and pustules may be dusty or compact, red, brown, yellow or black in color. Rosettes, so disease symptom characterized by short bunchy growth due to shortened internodes and no comparable reduction in leaf size. Such kind of symptoms are called as rosette, where internode length is reduced and leaves come very close to each other. Systemic fungicide taken up by plant, translocated within plant system, protect plant from infections and restrict control further growth of existing fungal infection. In fact, the systemic fungicides are absorbed into the plant system and then they attack the fungus. Wettable sulfur, finely divided sulfur to which a wetting agent has been added for use in agricultural sprays. Now let us see nutrient management in beet crop or sugar beet. To realize full potential of sugar beet crop, all the necessary essential elements should be supplied to the crop in right and balanced amount, and supply of nutrient should match the demand. Whenever demand is more, there should be more availability of the nutrient, and whenever the demand is less, there should be less supply of the nutrient. This actually helps in saving of nutrients, or wastage of nutrients can be reduced if we match the demand and supply together. So therefore, the right amount of nutrient is necessary, means the needful quantity should be applied based upon soil test, and it should be applied with right method and also by at right depth. Depth is also important. Sometimes the phosphatic fertilizer are applied broadcast. They should not be. They should be placed. And also source. Source is also important in nutrient management. And coming to the nitrogen, the most important nutrient, it is considered as a star nutrient in crop production. So older leaves are light green in case of nitrogen deficiency, turning later yellow, and decreased chlorophyll and photosynthesis of the older leaves. So these older leaves often wilt and die prematurely, and new leaves have long narrow blades and petiole. The length of the leaves also increases and they are yellow in color. Leaves is smaller in size with new leaves in center of plant dark green in color. Now you can see these three pictures. First one is nitrogen deficient seedling. Here you can note that yellow cotyledons are there. Then nitrogen deficiency at 6 leaf stage, older leaves are getting yellow. Very clear cut deficiency symptoms, and chlorosis is almost uniform. Then you can see pineapple crown, kind of pineapple crown, and it is early stage. You can see the older leaves are becoming yellow and central leaves or top leaves are green in color. It basically happens because nitrogen is mobile in plant. So nutrients can be translocated to the upper leaves from the lower leaves, thus lower leaves getting deficient in nitrogen. Phosphorus deficiency is typified by dark green leaves and stunting of whole plant. The plant height is reduced and leaves may have purple red coloration or pigmentation on their surfaces. Taproot growth retarded and mass of fibrous secondary roots produced. Overall, the root growth is also restricted due to phosphorus deficiency. Seedlings have yellow cotyledons when severely deficient, often with a green first pair of leaves. You have already seen that the cotyledons were yellow. Phosphorus deficiency, phosphorus deficient seedling with yellow cotyledons and green center leaves. So here you can see the lower cotyledons are yellow and the leaves are green. Another is stunted greening, brown veining of old leaves. These are the symptoms of phosphorus deficiency, and reduced size of P deficient leaf and normal leaf. On the left side, you can see the size of the leaf is also reduced, and other right side leaf, it is having no deficiency of phosphorus. Potassium deficiency, olive green margins followed by chlorosis of older leaves. So deficiency symptoms of potassium also appear on older leaves, and then whole leaf may turn dull and bronze. Scorch on margin or margins have some kind of firing of leaf blade, being leathery tan color accompanied by a smooth leaf surface. Youngest leaves may be hooded, similar to those with calcium deficiency. Necrotic tissue is dull or reddish brown. So many a times the marginal area or tip area get necrotic spot. Even if you supply potassium, then these spots will not recover back. So you can see mature leaf with interveinal scorching of the interveinal area you can notice here and there, and crinkled leaf surface. So surface is looking crinkled or kind of a smaller foldings, and it is with low sodium plant. Mature leaf with marginal tanning, scorching and smooth leaf surface. You can see these are the firing kind of symptoms on the margin, and again close up marginal tanning means change in color. You can see this kind of changes occur in case of potassium deficiency. Now see what are the symptoms of sulfur deficiency. Initial sulfur deficiency is similar to nitrogen deficiency, except that it comes first on younger leaves, general yellowing across entire leaf. Means the deficiency symptoms of nitrogen and sulfur are quite similar. In both cases uniform chlorosis happen, or yellowing of leaves may happen, but only difference is that nitrogen deficiency symptoms come on older leaves and sulfur deficiency symptoms on younger leaves. As deficiency progresses in case of sulfur, leaves of entire plant turn from green to light green and then light yellow with a faint tinge of green remaining. Leaves remain erect, petioles and blades are brittle, breaking readily when compressed. Now you can see pictures of sulfur deficiency. So uniform yellowing of younger leaves, light green and mature leaves very brittle. Uniform yellowing of seedling you can see here, and then leaf age series of sulfur deficiency plant, young mature, mature and old leaves. So you can see how sulfur deficiency advances. So in the first case it is very mild deficiency, then you can see the greening or yellowing of the leaf start, and you can see chlorosis happens and whole leaf is converted yellow color. Now severe sulfur deficiency of mature leaf you can see on the right side, it is completely loss of chlorophyll. Now check calcium deficiency. So it affects growing point. Center leaves have severe tip 1 and blades of older leaves crinkle, deformed and fail to expand. Young leaf blades are also hooded. Hooded is a structure something like this. This is hooded structure. Downward cupping have a crinkled appearance. A deficiency progresses, leaf blade size reduced to a mere stub of blackened tissue at end of petiole. So size of the leaf is also reduced, and that means the photosynthesis and growth of the crop is going to be affected adversely. Now see calcium deficiency symptoms in beet. So center leaves with severe tip burn because it comes on younger tissues or younger leaves. Blades of older leaves crinkled, deformed, failing to expand fully. So when the deficiency continues, it can affect the older leaves also or whole plant. Tip burn and hooding of old leaves, younger leaves becoming normal, center leaves with mild tip burn. So you can see kind of hooding structure. These kind of structures come due to calcium deficiency, and it is typical deficiency symptom of calcium. You can see the third image on the right side, hooding and tip burn of center leaves. So you can see clear cut this hood. Hood is the main deficiency symptoms of calcium. Now magnesium deficiency, many of you might be knowing that magnesium is constituent of chlorophyll. It is part of chlorophyll besides nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, etc. So it is very important for the synthesis of chlorophyll. Small pale yellow areas near outside margins of recently matured leaves. The lemon yellow areas is spread between veins towards midrib, and necrosis starts near edge of leaf and gradually expands to include most intervenal tissues except for triangular area near base of a leaf. Now see the deficiency symptom of magnesium in pictures. Magnesium deficiency with mature leaves. You can see here these kind of symptoms are quite prominent. You can see intervenal chlorosis is happening, and center leaves green, not hooded, and base of blades green. Now how the deficiency symptoms of magnesium advances. So you can see this is the young leaf where deficiency symptom have just started, and then it advances to second stage. You can see more greening of leaf, and third you can see the yellowing of leaf, and finally you can see the leaf is getting yellow. Or mature leaf, you can see this one also, mature leaf with intervenal chlorosis. It is a typical symptom of magnesium deficiency, intervenal chlorosis, and start of necrosis. Necrosis means death of tissues, and base of leaf green. Now molybdenum deficiency, many of you know that molybdenum is a micronutrient which is essential for all the plants on the earth, and it is needed in very small quantities, and its availability is very less, particularly in acidic soils. So symptoms are similar with nitrogen deficiency to some extent. Center leaves remain light green to yellow, As symptoms increase in severity, a pitting develops along veins. So, some kind of pits are formed, you can see here. Left to right, you can see how molybdenum deficiency symptoms advance from mild to severe. Leaf age series of molybdenum deficiency, young, light green, this one, first one, and second one, mature leaf, you can see symptom, and old blades, uniform yellowing here. Uniform yellowing, you can see, is molybdenum deficiency here, and slight venation and start of necrotic spotting. Boron deficiency. Boron is also a micronutrient and it is necessary particularly for pollination. So, symptoms appear on leaves and petiole, both crown and roots. So, many parts are affected, causes heart rot. Growing point becomes blackened and dies and dry out. Immobile in plant, symptoms on growing points and meristematic tissues. Growing points appear small rosettes of discolored bracts and eventually die. And it has further important role in seed setting or fertilization. So, what happens when pollen grains fall on stigma? They germinate. So, boron is necessary for germination of the pollen tube. So, therefore, it has very significant role in fertilization and hence seed setting or seed production. Now, we can see deficiency symptoms of boron. Center leaves dark green, you can see here they are dark green, deformed, they are deformed and at times wilted, older leaves often wilted. Now, you can see how much deformation of leaf is there. In this case, they are undersized and growing point dying here. You can see this growing point is dying and petioles are cracking. So, sometimes severe damage can occur due to boron deficiency even during the vegetative phase. You can see leaf age series, how they develop boron deficiency symptoms, and darkened, deformed, crinkled leaves, nearly normal leaf. So, you can see the boron deficiency symptoms in beet leaves. Now, zinc deficiency, light green color on larger leaves near center of plant is first apparent symptom. As chlorosis becomes more intense, small pits develop between veins on upper surface of blades. Entire area between veins gradually becomes dry, leaving primary veins prominently outlined, turgid and green. See pictures of zinc deficiency. Yellowing, first of all yellowing followed by intervenal necrosis and veining. You can see here intervenal necrosis. Initial pitting of mature leaf blades, some kind of pits are formed. Intervenal necrosis of mature leaves, main veins green here. You can see main vein is green and intervenal chlorosis is happening. Close up of intervenal necrosis and green main veins. You can see these are the typical symptom of zinc deficiency in beet. Now, we go to manganese deficiency. Manganese is also an important micronutrient which is used for splitting of water molecule in case of photosynthesis, and it has many other important roles which are indispensable for survival and growth of plants. So, what are typical symptoms? Speckled yellows, smaller angular chlorotic spot in intervenal, not affecting the veins. Further development of speckling results in translucent nature of spots. Yellow spots become necrotic and holes start developing. In field, leaves have a characteristic upright posture due to petioles growing nearly vertically and laminae rolling inwards. Now, see pictures for manganese deficiency. Yellowing with island of green. Or here and there you will find greenness in leaf. Young leaf with netted veining and black freckles here. Dark freckled necrotic area. And lastly, you can see the severe deficiency symptom of manganese, black freckles coalesced. They merge into each other and whole leaf can become dark brown. Let us see iron deficiency. Iron is very important micronutrient and it has number of roles. particularly in the synthesis of chlorophyll and some other biochemical functions. So, veins remain green, standing out against yellow intervenal areas. Bleached blades become necrotic, which causes them to cup upward. If iron is reabsorbed before blade tissues become permanently damaged, fine veins become green and prominently netted. The above symptom is associated with recovery from iron deficiency, not iron deficiency. See iron deficiency in beet plants. So, uniform yellowing of younger leaves, yellowing or kind of bleaching. Bleaching means green color has gone and white color has appeared. This is kind of bleaching symptoms of iron deficiency. And then netted green veining iron deficiency, and veins remain green, you can see. Now, copper deficiency like iron, manganese, it is also a metallic cation and which has very important role in enzyme activities in the plant systems. So, develops as a mild chlorosis of young center leaves, similar to effects of observed in case of iron chloride and manganese deficiency. Symptoms progress from mild chlorosis to a fine green netted veining, contrasting with light yellow areas. Further development of copper deficiency is bleached appearance of leaf blade. Now, you can see copper deficiency, chlorosis of young central leaves, and then close-up view of green veining of copper deficiency, this, and normal green veining similar to iron, manganese and chloride, and see bleached area of copper deficiency, this bleached. Now, see chlorine or chloride deficiency, chlorosis on blades of younger leaves near center of the plant and main veins remaining green and raised. Leaf blade shows netted mosaic pattern branching out from main veins. As symptoms develop, intervenal areas appear flat, yellow-green depressions which become dry. You can see chloride deficiency symptoms appears first as a chlorosis of young center leaves. Leaf age series, you can see how the symptoms are progressing with the advanced stage of deficiency, and finally you can see normal leaf and intervenal chlorosis in the right leaf. So, you must have checked that many nutrients are essential for the growth of the plant, and if they are not present in sufficient amount, their deficiency is shown or exhibited by the plants. So, therefore, we need to correct these deficiencies. Better to not allow to crop become deficient in the nutrients. Better to apply nutrients in advance, particularly based upon the soil test, we should use nutrients. So, in nutrient management, we need to supply nutrients in adequate and balanced amount, and as far as possible, we should try integrated nutrient management practices. So, Balakrishnan and Selva Kumar 2008 recorded higher yield of beet under tropical conditions with INM, integrated nutrient management, that is application of urea, farmyard manure and biofertilizer treatment, and they have used 150 kg nitrogen, 75 kg phosphorus and 75 kg potash. In yet another study, treatment of nitrogen and K2O, potash at the rate of 160 kg per hectare with 60 kg P2O5 resulted in greater yield compared to other fertilizer levels. So, these recommendations are basically based for different soil types, for different status of the nutrient and also for varieties. And furthermore, such kind of recommendations are also based upon the availability of water. If sufficient availability of water is there, then you will use higher doses of nutrients. If water availability is less, moisture is less, then you are required to use less amount of nutrients. So, number of variable affects the quantity of nutrients to be supplied to the crop. Now, Barik reported highest yield of 36 ton per hectare after applying potassium at the rate of 155 kg per hectare. while only 35 kg ton per hectare yield had been obtained when potassium applied was 115 kg per hectare. Under Punjab conditions, RDF may be up to 150 kg nitrogen, 50 to 70 kg per hectare phosphorus at planting and 100 to 160 kg per hectare potassium. These potassic or phosphatic fertilizer are to be applied basally. Apply 20 ton per hectare of well-rotten farmyard manure and mix it well before sowing. So, addition of manure is necessary to get the best results from fertilizer, because organic manure improves physical, chemical and biological properties of the soil. In boron deficient soils, if it is less than 1.25 kg boron per hectare, apply 1 kg per hectare of boron, which can be supplied through approximately 10 kg per hectare borax at sowing. Bithi et al. 2020, they said that boron at the rate of 150 ppm is sprayed thrice at 40, 65 and 90 days after emergence improved beet yield and juice quality. Hence, you can see that boron not only increases the yield of the sugar beet, but it also improves quality. Quality here mainly means the increased percentage of sugar. Piskin said that zinc fertilization at the rate of 5 kg zinc per hectare enhance beet and sugar yield. So, both quantity and quality of the produce is improved, and you can see that this crop is responding to zinc also. And suppose you are going to apply 5 kg zinc, then you will require approximately 25 kg of zinc sulfate heptahydrate. Now, we go to water management, and water management is also important. Basically, this crop can tolerate up to some extent water stress also. It can tolerate salinity, but normally it does not tolerate waterlogging. So, but whenever conditions or dry conditions are there, then one need to apply irrigation. So, irrigation should be based on soil type and climatic conditions. So, generally in India, subtropical India, say in the northern parts of India, it is grown in winter months, and in winter months there is hardly any rains. So, therefore, irrigations are required in subtropical India during winter months also. However, the quantity and frequency of water application will vary according to soil type, according to variety and also the climatic conditions prevailing. For example, if you have sandy soils or sandy loam soils growing this beet crop, then you will need more irrigation. Similarly, if you have heavy texture soils like clay soils or clay loam soils, then you will need less number of irrigation in this crop. So, pre-sowing irrigation is essential, since at the time of sowing sufficient soil moisture is must for proper irrigation. It is also important that this crop is having very light seed, and therefore their moisture absorption capacity is less compared to the bolder seed. So, sufficient moisture has to be there at the time of sowing. First irrigation is crucial for the early establishment of the crop. In light textured sandy loam soil, irrigation once in 5 to 7 days, but for heavy textured clay loam soil, once in 8 to 10 days is recommended under tropical condition. This is the case of tropical conditions. Suppose you are growing it in Maharashtra, growing it in Karnataka, then frequency of irrigation is generally more compared to subtropical India, and also according to soil type. Tropical sugar beet is very sensitive to water stagnation in soil at all the stages of growth. Irrigation is stopped about 2 to 3 weeks before harvesting of the crop. At harvest, if the soil is too dry and hard, it is necessary to give pre-harvest irrigation for easy harvest. Light and frequent irrigation is recommended for maintaining optimum soil moisture. Do not apply irrigation water in excess, that can be harmful. So, water requirement overall is 800 to 850 millimeter for sugar beet crop. Intensity and frequency of irrigation affect sugar beet root yield and relative proportion of sugar. So, both productivity and quality of sugar beet are also influenced by irrigation. Total 8 irrigation were given for higher root yield and sugar recovery. Further, Kumar 1993 observed that juice contained less impurity index when irrigated frequently. So, they found that frequent irrigation improves the juice quality. Irrigation scheduling at IWCP ratio of 0.8 gave highest sugar beet yield in this crop. This resulted in significantly higher water productivity under IWCP ratio of 0.8. IW is your irrigation water, CPE is your cumulative pond evaporation, and then IWCP ratio of 1 and 1.2. So, therefore, this ratio was the best. At this ratio, irrigation should be applied in sugar beet. Sugar beet sowing on beds or ridges, 2 rows per ridge, resulted in significantly higher water productivity as compared to flat method. So, as students know that this crop is planted by 2 methods, one is flat method, other is ridge and furrow method. So, in ridge and furrow method, this crop is planted on the ridges. Normally 2 rows are planted. So, you have got furrows also. So, in this case water saving is there, and because of water saving, the irrigation water use efficiency and water productivity are more in ridge and furrow system compared to flat method of planting. They further reported that for maximum sugar beet root yield and water productivity, crops should be sown on beds and ridges, keeping plant population of 1 to 1.23 lakh per hectare. So, according to them, this is the right plant population of sugar beet, and watering should be done at an IWCP ratio of 0.8. Now, let us check the critical growth stages for irrigation in sugar beet. So, germination and emergence, there has to be sufficient moisture. It is also critical stage. So, do you understand what do we mean by critical stage for irrigation? So, its meaning is that when you do not apply water or irrigation at a particular stage or at a particular time of the crop growth, then there will be significant or very high reduction in the yield or productivity. So, that particular stage may be called as critical stage for irrigation. So, second stage is early vegetative stage, where you get leaf development and photosynthesis. Root development stage is also critical, where you get root expansion and sugar accumulation in the beets or beet root. Maturation stage, here it maintains some moisture to avoid stress that could affect sugar content. So, these are the important critical growth stages for irrigation in sugar beet. So, what are different methods that can be employed to apply water in this crop? So, these methods are surface irrigation, flood or furrow irrigation, which is also a common method of irrigation. Then sprinkler irrigation can also be done, and no doubt the drip irrigation system is the best one, where you get highest water use efficiency, less wastage of water and so on. And subsurface irrigation can also be used. However, it is not having that much scope in the present scenario, but in future who knows that tomorrow we can have this subsurface irrigation method very common in the country. Now, we go to the weed management. As you might be knowing that weeds are not good for the crop growth. They compete for nutrients, they compete for water, they compete for space as well as for light. So, ultimately they reduce the growth and productivity of the crop, and in many cases it has been found that these weeds can also reduce the quality of the crop. So, therefore, their management is must to realize better productivity and better quality of sugar beet. So, several species of narrow-leaved weeds, broad-leaved weeds or sedges may affect this crop. As you know that weeds are classified primarily into 3 groups. One is your monocot weeds, which are also called as narrow-leaved weed. They are mostly gramineous weeds which are monocot and narrow-leaved. There is one more class which is broad-leaved weeds. They are basically dicots kind of weed or broad-leaf weed. They are also called as broad-leaf weeds. Third category in between these two is sedges. So, sedges belong to the family Cyperaceae. So, species type will vary according to climate and soil conditions. In subtropical condition, for example, Punjab, the important weeds are given in next slides. Now, you can see the list of weeds: Felis minor, Avena ludoviciana, Lolium temulentum, Polypogon monospeliensis, Poa annua, Sonchus arvensis, Carthamus oxycantha, Cichorium intybus, this is Kasni, Rumex dentatus, Jungli palak, Rumex spinosus, Euphorbia simplex, Asphodilus tenuifolius, Chenopodium album, Chenopodium morel, Lathyrus sativus, kind of Khesari, Lathyrus aphaca, Vicia sativa, Vicia hirsute, Medicago denticulate, Trigonella polycerata and Melilotus alba. Some more weeds you can check, number of weeds are there, and all these weeds are basically Rabi season weeds. Melilotus indica, Anagales arvensis, Spergula arvensis, Stellaria media, Saponaria vaccaria, Silan conoidea, Fumaria parviflora, Argemon mexicana, Coronopus didymus, Sicimbrium ireo, Malva parviflora, Veronica agrestis, Lithospamum arvens, Antirrhinum oronitum, Orontium, Nephelium purpureum, Cannabis sativa, O. laciniata, G. aperine, and so on. Number of weeds are there which belong to broadleaf and narrow-leaved category. Now, weed management, how to control these weeds? So, better to go for integrated weed management. So, initial vigor or growth of crop is slow. So, first 2 months are very critical in this crop, when this crop should be free from the weeds. Afterwards, it will have good growth, good number of leaves that can suppress the growth of the weeds. So, weed may reduce root yield by 6 to 10% or more if they are not controlled. Integrated weed management includes mechanical, chemical, cultural methods, and all may be applied in combined way. Cultural methods include crop rotation, like implementing diverse crop rotation disrupt weed cycle and reduce the weeds. Cover crops can also be grown during off season. They suppress weeds by out-competing them for resources. Planting density and timing. Planting at optimal densities and time give crop a competitive advantage over the weed. So, sowing should be done at right density as well as at right time. There are some mechanical methods like tillage and hoeing. So, pre-plant tillage can help reduce the initial weed seed bank. Post-emergence cultivation can control weeds between the rows, and hoeing, manual hoeing can effectively control the small scale operations or in areas where mechanical cultivation is difficult. Overall, tillage and hoeing can be useful mechanical method. And then chemical control, we can apply certain herbicide, particularly pre-emergence herbicides are available. So, you can see pratilachlor 50 EC at the rate of 0.5 kg AI per hectare, or pendimethalin commercial product 3.75 liter per hectare can be dissolved in 300 liters of water and sprayed with hand operated maybe knapsack sprayer on 0 to 2 day after sowing, followed by hand weeding at 25 and 50 days after sowing. So, here you are seeing it is kind of integrated weed management where chemical application can be combined with hand weeding. Hand weeding can be done at 25 days after sowing and 50 days after sowing, and pendimethalin can be sprayed as pre-emergence, means immediately after sowing. Now, we go to the next part, which is disease management. because disease also cause damage to the crop and they can reduce the yield and quality of beet crop. So, in India, rate of occurrence of diseases varies from 10 to 15%, resulting in low beet yield. 15 sugar beet diseases of economic value have been known in Indian climatic conditions. Juicy nature of leaves favor infection by several organisms causing diseases. Symptoms and management options of important diseases are now discussed. So, first disease is Cercospora leaf spot. It is caused by fungus Cercospora baticola, also called brown spot or leaf blotch, being most destructive disease worldwide. Lower or older leaves are infected first, resulting in formation of minute translucent spots. Within 6 to 2 days, spots turn into discrete circular lesions, just like this, circular lesions of 3 to 5 millimeter diameter, having necrotic gray centers with reddish brown to black margins. So, this is how we can identify Cercospora leaf spots. So, you can see these are all circular spots. In the center you see it is grayish color, and all around the margins of the spot you see it is reddish or dark brown color. So, spores on leaves gradually enlarge, coalesce means merge into each other and form bigger patches, and whole leaf can be affected by this disease. Large number of spores cause quick drying of foliage, resulting in premature defoliation, causing infected leaves to shrink. Ultimately, photosynthesis will be affected and growth will be adversely affected. You see the drying of leaves can also happen, and this kind of symptoms can cause severe losses in the field. Now, management. Spraying of non-systemic or systemic fungicides can be done to control this disease. Non-systemic fungicides, for example, copper oxychloride, 4 to 6 sprays are needed at the rate of 2 to 2.5 kg per hectare at 15 days interval. Then systemic fungicide like carbendazim, thiobenzadole, thiophanate at the rate of 200 to 250 gram per hectare can be used. Now, Alternaria leaf blight. Alternaria species is causal agent including Alternaria tenuis, Alternaria brassicae, Alternaria ashwinii, Alternaria dilkushana species in Indian conditions. So, you can see there are 3-4 different species of Alternaria fungus that can cause Alternaria leaf blight disease in beet. So, what happens? Leaf spots of smaller size range up to 10 millimeter in diameter, being irregular in shape, dark brown to blackish, and more commonly on leaf margins. Spores are subcircular and brown with necrosis on the center. Spores often coalesce. Advanced stage of infection causes drying of central necrotic lesions. So, you can see this complete drying can occur. Now, how to manage or control Alternaria leaf blight? Disease is partially managed by spraying of any fungicide, maybe dithanum 45 or copper oxychloride or Captan at the rate of 2 to 2.5 kg per hectare per spray at 15 days interval at early stage. Other fungicide is Geneve or dithanum 45. It can be sprayed and it can be combined with urea at the rate of 3% for spraying. So, what happens here? There will be convenience in spraying. Now, third disease is powdery mildew caused by fungus Erysipeae beetae, BETAE, and also the synonyms are E. polygoni, E. communis, Odium erysipoides, and Microsphaera beetae. So, first on lower leaves, these powdery mildew, white to grey thread-like filaments, white powder which turns grey or tan mildew on both sides of the leaf. At advanced stage, patches enlarged, coalesced, and leaves look like dusted with white powder. So, leaves which were severely affected change from green to yellow, which later dry up. So, you can see powdery growth. This is powdery mildew. You can see more symptoms on other leaves. So, what can be done to control? Use of wettable sulfur at the rate of 1.5 to 2 kg per hectare recommended, and 2 to 3 sprays of wettable sulfur proved beneficial at 15 to 20 days interval. Spraying of potassium phosphate, monobasic, dibasic or tribasic reduces incidence. It also induces systemic resistance against disease, because it contains potassium and phosphorus, so which give plant strength to fight diseases. Now, Ramularia leaf spot, it is caused by Ramularia baticola, is the causal agent and observed more after September in India. Older leaves are infected with this disease, light brown and fairly large spots ranging between 4 to 7 millimeter in diameter. On maturity, spores turned grey with silvery white center having dark to reddish brown margin. Leaves turned yellow from green and later on die. Single application of eminent 125 SL has been found to be effective. Otherwise, triazoles fungicide like apoxyconazole, propiconazole, difenoconazole have also shown effective control. Rotation of crop up to 4 years is also useful. So, you can see the spots of Ramularia. Damping off caused by Pythium ultimum in seedlings, soft brown rotted tissue, plant wilt and reduced population. So, you can see seedling death can occur. Seedling can die in this case. In severe infection, plant collapse and death. Excessive soil moisture followed by heat stress predisposes development of disease. Avoid over irrigation, especially during high temperature conditions. Rotation with non-specific, non-susceptible crops like wheat and maize. Chemical control like soil disinfestation with methyl bromide are common practice in greenhouse to control this disease. Otherwise, some other fungicide can be used for drenching also. Rust in this case is small circulated orange or brown raised pustules on both sides of leaf and petiole surrounded by a yellow halo. So, you can see the pustules are there and they are surrounded by yellow halo. Under severe condition, pustules coalesce with each other resulting in drying of leaf and finally death of plant. So, here in advanced stage, complete drying of leaf can happen and this will lead to severe loss in yield. Cultivation of resistant variety should be done. Use disease-free seed. Adopt crop rotation with known hosts like maize, barley, cotton and alfalfa. For chemical control, fungicide can be used. For example, Ascolta, which is cyproconazole plus trifloxystrobin. They can manage the rust. Root and crown rot caused by Rhizoctonia solani, initiated with root tip, dark color, oval lesions that spread and cause damage of entire bulb. Infected plant has brown leaves which dries and fall off on severity. Later infection occurs in entire plant resulting in heavy losses due to crown and root rot. Crop rotation with with known host like wheat and barley. It is important to rotate the crop, because if you continuously grow this crop, then there will be lot of stubbles or residues that can carry over the disease from one season to another season. So, therefore, it is advisable to change the rotation to rotate different crops like wheat or barley. Drainage in rot infected field to suppress pathogens grown in soil, summer deep plowing, and there is chemical control also. Nearly 50% of disease can be controlled by spraying azoxystrobin and tabuconazole. These are the fungicides, they can be sprayed to control root and crown rot. And of course, resistant varieties can be used to control this particular disease. So, management of insect pest is also important because these insect pests can cause losses to the crop. They can also cause decrease in quality as well. So, it has got a few key pests that may actually limit production under certain conditions. Some insect pests are seen all over the world, means some are common across the countries, and in addition there are numerous species that cause periodic losses. Management of major insect pests is now discussed before you. So, let us see at what stage which insect pests may affect this crop. So, let us start at seedling stage. So, you can see at seedling stage wire worms, springtails, seed corn maggot, root aphid, root worms, cutworms, army worms, beet crown borer, web worms, root maggot and bean aphid etc. can come. It is not that all will come at a time, but 1 or 2 or 3 of these can come during seedling stage and damage the crop. So, they are expected insects. Similarly, at mature sugar beet stage, you get clover cutworm, leaf mining flies, mites, thrips, aphids. These are sucking pests, blister beetles, grasshoppers, petiole borer and aphid leaf miner. So, number of pests can come even during mature sugar beet stage. And finally, if this crop is grown for seed production, then one can have lygus bugs, beet army worm, beet leaf hopper, green peach aphid and leaf hoppers. So, number of pests, insect pests are there. Now, first one is sugar beet moth. It is S. oscillatella. Newly has larvae peel leaves, hide in petioles, central leaves and damage older leaves and petioles. You can see the damage, great damage done, and then the growth of the crop can be adversely affected. Sugar beet army worm, Spodoptera litura, major leaf feeder and polyphagous, means it can attack many other plants also. Young larvae feed gregariously. Gregariously means it is feeding in group on leaves and skeletonize them. Older larvae eat foliage alone, leaving leaves with large irregular holes. You can see number of holes are made by this insect on the leaves, and these are called army worm because normally they attack in groups. Bihar hairy caterpillar, scientific name is Spilosoma obliqua. You can see in picture also, this is having called as Bihar hairy caterpillar. And polyphagous pest, caterpillar skeletonize leaving veins intact, means they eat the green matter in the interveinal areas. If attack occurs early, can consume entire plant. Fourth one is black cutworm, Agrotis epsilon, polyphagous, sporadic importance, means it does not come regularly. After hatching, caterpillar devour plants to the ground or cut them off at the ground level, diminishing plant stand. So, it also causes losses to the crop. So, management of insect pests in case of sugar beet crop. Follow IPM that combines the best practices for management of insect pests. So, we know that integrated pest management is the best way. Many a times we use chemicals, we use insecticide, pesticide to control insect pests and diseases. And if they are used in overdose, they can be dangerous to the soil, they can reduce the soil biodiversity, they can affect the fertility of the soil, and they can affect the quality of the water. They can reach the water, even they can reach the atmosphere. So, therefore, ultimately if we are breathing, if we are taking food which is laden with pesticides, then it is not for good for human health. Therefore, excess use of pesticide should be avoided to save our environment, to save our soil, etc. So, therefore, integrated pest management strategies are the best one, which reduce the use of insecticide and pesticide. So, by adopting IPM, we can reduce the use of pesticides. So, for example, cultural practices like crop rotation, optimum population, timely sowing and field sanitation, all these cultural practices can help to reduce the infestation of several insect pests. Even simple alteration in sowing time can affect or can escape a particular insect pest. Rotations are also important that can break down the insect pest cycles, and they can reduce the incidence. Use healthy seed and resistant varieties. Resistant varieties will be resistant to the attack of a particular insect. So, they help in managing the insect pests. Now, we go to the next part of this lecture, which is processing of sugar beet. So, several value added products can be made from sugar beet. The main product is the root, beetroot, and this beetroot can be used to extract the sugar. That is the basic purpose of growing sugar beet. So, let us check how this sugar can be produced from sugar beets. What are different steps? So, processing sugar beets into sugar involves harvesting. First of all, we need to harvest the crop. Harvested using specialized machinery, then beets sent to processing plant. So, harvesting can be done manually also. Even potato digger can be used for harvesting. Spade can be used for harvesting. Number of mechanical options are available to harvest the crop. Then after harvesting, washing is necessary to remove soil, stones, etc. Make it clean. Then cutting. So, clean beets are then sliced into thin strips called cosettes. So, machines are now available to make cosettes or to make pulp. This increases surface area for next step, which is extraction. So, you see harvesting, washing, cutting, and then next step is extraction of sugar. So, how extraction can be done? The cosettes placed in hot water in a diffuser or extraction tower. This process known as diffusion extracts sugar from beet slices into water, creating a raw juice. So, what happened through the process of diffusion? The sugar moves from inside to outside, and it is mixed with water. Then comes purification. Raw juice has impurities and purified. So, we want to extract sugar from the raw juice. So, what can be done? Number one is lime and carbon dioxide treatment. Adding lime, which is calcium oxide, and carbon dioxide to juice forms calcium carbonate, which precipitate and removes impurity. Then we can easily filter, we can easily remove the calcium carbonate from the juice. And then filtration is also necessary. Mixture is then filtered to remove the precipitated impurities. Number of filters are used. Mechanical filters are available that can be used to clean the juice. Then ion exchange. Sometimes ion exchange resins are used to remove additional impurities. Evaporation. Purified juice is concentrated by evaporating the water, resulting in a thick syrup called thick juice. So, then crystallization means making the crystals of the sugar. Thick juice is further concentrated by boiling under vacuum, giving sugar crystals. This mixture of crystals and syrup is called as massacute. Then from this massacute, you need to further separate the sugar and syrup. So, centrifugation is done. Massacute is spun in a centrifuge to separate sugar crystals and remaining syrup. The syrup is called as molasses. And then drying and cooling of sugar, separated crystals dried and cooled, giving white granulated sugar. And then finally, once you have obtained the sugar, you can go for packaging. Dried sugar then packaged into bags or other containers for distribution and sale. Byproduct is molasses. Molasses can be processed. This remaining syrup can be further processed to extract more sugar or used in other industries like for animal feed or fermentation for alcohol production. Other byproducts like beet pulp left over from extraction process can be used as animal feed or further processed into other products. So, let us see that how much important this crop is. Dear students, hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much.